Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name's Lauren Schwartzbard, film student extraordinaire who is extraordinarily tired right now, but it's fine. We're still filming. Today I'm going to be giving you the update on the IATSE deal, which was ratified, what that means, what it means going forwards, and should be a pretty quick little video, but if you want to just stay tuned to the end of my little saga series that I was doing, keep watching.
I was kissing you with my eyes open, but you said keep them closed and be in the moment.
I got this information from a Variety article, which will be linked down below. Variety is a trade paper, and I trust the source. IATSE has voted to ratify a new 3-year agreement. So from now until 2024, the rules that were just agreed on, the new standards are now in place, and that is now like the baseline for a union job. It was a really close vote. According to the article, 256 delegates voted yes on the basic agreement and 188 voted no. The basic agreement covers 13 West local IATSE groups, so like the Hollywood area. There's also the area standard, which covers the remaining locals across the country. They were voting on the same agreement, but they do have to do 2 different votes. This would be 4, but it's just 2. More members actually voted no in the basic agreement, with 50.4% voting no, but the outcome is determined the electoral college style. Some of the guilds that voted yes included the Art Directors Guild and the Motion Picture Editors Guild, and then one of the guilds that voted no, the largest guild, was the International Cinematographers Guild. Local, I think 609 was the exact number. So it was like pretty across the board with different guilds wanting different things, but they all have to come together under the one big ultimate guild of IATSE. There was even a closer vote with the standards agreement, which was 103 delegates to 94 delegates. So this is obviously evident that this was not unanimous. It was not a ton of people being like, oh my god, this is the agreement of our dreams. And one person that was quoted in the article was talking about how this doesn't get everything he wants, but he did not want to go on strike, and he felt like every negotiation leaves some kind of a compromise where you're never fully happy with what you get, which is why he still voted yes, because he sees it as an overall win, which is presumably why everyone who voted yes, because they see it as an overall win. Turnout was also super high with voting. 72% of the 63,000 eligible members did come up to vote, which was 2 times more people than the previous ratification, which just goes to show how getting the word out there to encourage people to vote is so important. Regardless of whether the outcome was what you wanted or didn't want, voting is so important to have your voice be heard, whether it's for your union or your local politics or bigger politics. I think voting is super important. That is my opinion, and I am sharing it because it fits perfectly into this little segment. Some people are really encouraged for, like, they're seeing long-term growth changes, and that is what the president is saying. He's saying that, you know, we're on the right track. Other people are saying, well, it wasn't enough. And I'm now going to go into what the deal actually includes, and you can understand why some people believe it doesn't address, like, the oppressive, terrible working conditions, even though it does do some things. So here goes. So the new deal includes a 54-hour weekend rest period. Now, I think you could technically still have a Friday, which is when a Friday kind of rolls into a Saturday, but if you're having a rest period, the weekend rest period has to be 54 hours. Certain sets, I believe, can like still shoot 6 or 7 days a week, depending on what the agreement is. So that's kind of, it's not like every single production is going to have 54-hour weekends, and sometimes you'll shoot on a weekend and then not shoot on like a Tuesday, so but it's saying that they're basically putting in a rest period. There's also mandating 10 hours off between shifts or turnaround time. Now, this may sound really good, but that still basically means a 14-hour workday. And they're saying it's for all workers on all types of productions, but still, when it comes to like a PA, or some people who are the first to get there and the last to leave, like, they're going to be there longer than 14 hours, so that is pretty disheartening to hear. Also, 10-hour turnaround times are already like semi-standards, like this isn't doing something new. People were really hoping for a 12-hour turnaround. That is what we're encouraged to try to have on our sets at Temple, a 12-hour turnaround minimum. We're also encouraged to try to aim for 8 to 10-hour days versus 10 to 12-hour days. But also we are a school, so it's a little different. I understand that, but I think like it starts at the beginning, it starts at the bottom with the kind of set culture you want to have. It did increase meal penalties if productions go past 8 hours without a break, but it did not increase the penalties for 6 hours without a break. We are taught that you're supposed to get a meal break every 6 hours. So like, for example, for our sets at Temple, if we would go over 6 hours, you always have a meal break. And that's what we're told to do, and it should be at least half an hour. So on some of these big sets, they're not doing that. It's become really custom to have like rolling lunches where you just kind of get food when you can, or like no real break at all, which is terrible. Like people need a moment of reprieve. It's important to have food to fuel your body to go throughout the day and to, of course, like get your job done. If you're working 14 hours, can you imagine going 14 hours with no breaks for 8 hours potentially? Like not even after that, if they just keep increasing the penalties. They're not banning it, but they're not saying like you have to have a break or we'll shut your production down. They're just increasing the money. But people will be like, oh, well, we'll actually save more money if we pay a penalty versus like stopping. So it all comes down to how they can save the most money versus how can we give our workers like an adequate workspace. It provides $370 million to go into like the pension and health funds, but that does not, but the deal does not include anything with like new media streaming residuals for these funds, which I understand why it wasn't added, because even though new media is not really that new, it's like not as officially recognized still, even though you'll see like tons of Netflix shows like getting amazing awards in the film and TV industry. But I do think the residuals should be given, because if like actors and like the higher ups are making money off like streamings, why isn't the crew, like why aren't they benefiting by putting money into their pensions? I don't think that's fair to not do that personally, but you know, it's not like I could even vote on this yet. It provides a 3% annual raise, so retroactive to August 1st, and that's okay. I mean, that's like barely inflation, not even, depending on what inflation is, which is depressing. So people are like, oh, I'm getting a raise, but like not really, you're just barely matching inflation, if that. I mean, it's better than no enforced raise, but it's not great. And then there's also says there's going to be significant pay hikes for the lowest paid workers. For example, like writers, assistants, and certain coordinators, who will now see their minimum rates raised to $26 an hour by the 3rd year of the contract. So by the last year, it'll be $26 an hour. I think $26 an hour does sound pretty good. However, that's of course not until the 3rd year. So it's not like they're just magically getting these rates now. I mean, it's something. It's definitely something, and I'm a little discouraged because I was hoping people would vote no, and you know, we would have like major change, partially because I think there needs to be in the industry, and then like selfishly because then it can kind of happen before I get on the industry, because sometimes it's scary to hear about like the terrible working conditions that happen in the film and TV industry. But that didn't happen, so hopefully the momentum doesn't, you know, vanish and people still care about having good working conditions, safe working conditions. You know, we're in the business of making movies and shows, like entertaining people, you know, informing people, and people's lives shouldn't be lost doing that. People shouldn't be draining themselves dry doing that. You know, a lot of professors will joke and be like, it's not rocket science, like it's not surgery. Like you shouldn't be draining yourself dry to do this. It's work, but it's supposed to be fun. We're supposed to be creating something that could change the world, whether through entertainment, through education, and that's what I try to remember. So this is the update on the deal. I know I'm not like jumping off the walls about it. I mean, personally, I'm just not jumping off the walls about it, and also I'm just tired, as I already said. But that's it. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below what you think on the new deal, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.